Alright, so let's talk about Mortal Kombat 1 seemingly wrapping up support and just the current state of WB games as a whole. Let me start by saying I adore Ed Boon and the fine folks over at NRS for the most part. Hasn't been perfect. But overall, the work's been pretty good. However, I fucking hate WB games. WB in general is currently a dumpster fire doused in gasoline, and the people in charge are smoking their cigars too close to that shit. When people are speculating if the new Superman movie flops, then your studio could turn into the next 20th Century Fox, things are not going so well. Which means their games division is pretty much fucked. Obviously, as a massive Mortal Kombat fan, I'm more than a little worried about what might happen to my baby. So let's start with the game first. Overall, my thoughts on the game are mixed, but I'm mostly disappointed with how this turned out, especially as someone who had a lot of optimism in those early days. I mean, I knew I was coping at the time because I was still in that honeymoon period, but once some of that new game hype died off for me, I started to see more and more flaws, and the flaws that I had already noticed really began to fucking annoy me. The crib being absolutely stripped from the game is an atrocity to the series, and how the very little unlockable content there was in general was handled was insulting to say the least. I like the fighting in the game, but I'm not fond of the cameo system itself. I held out hope for a single 1v1 mode or a full-blown tag mode to get added later down the line, and neither of those things have come to pass. And that doesn't even cover the actual story mode, which fucking ton of people have problems with. I don't think it's a stretch to say this has been the most controversial Mortal Kombat game in quite some time, and maybe even the most controversial fighting game since maybe Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I don't blame Ed and the team for a lot of the things that went down with this game. I know a lot of this had to have been out of his hands, because current management over at Warner Brothers is just dog shit. Charging money for fatalities is one of the most insulting things I think I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. And I think I had an actual stroke when I saw the price of Season 2's content.
What are you, crazy? I'm not paying that much.
The asking price for the amount of content felt like an absolute slap in the fucking face, and I still haven't purchased it out of principle. When they are also charging for fucking fatalities, skins, shrine currency, they don't get to charge that much for 2 to 3 hours of additional content and 6 fucking characters.
What are you, crazy? I'm not paying that much.
I am not paying $50 fucking for 6 goddamn characters.
What are you, crazy? I'm not paying that much.
Like, let's just talk about the shrine. It replaced the crypt, and the quality of unlockable content from the crypt has been going down the shitter ever since it was introduced. It just gets worse and worse each game, and instead of fixing it, they decided to just rip the whole thing out this time and replace it with a literal fucking slot machine. So you can't even get something that you want specifically. It's all fucking randomized, and in all likelihood you'll probably get another fucking piece of concept art, which people have also been complaining about for several years. Where's the cool shit, guys? Where's the cooking with scorpions? It's just concept art and like 5 costumes, and now it's just a literal fucking slot machine. Please kill me. What the fuck? And what I hate the most is that it didn't have to be this way. WB Games clearly rushed this out the door. Everyone knew it, everyone felt it, and it was pretty much all but fucking confirmed when everyone discovered the player one advantage at launch. And it went unfucking checked for like the first month. Are you fucking kidding me? Thus killing really any and all fucking competition right off the bat. Because why would you play with someone when there is a 50-50 fucking chance they have an advantage over you by virtue of you being so fucking handicapped due to combos not functioning properly because of a glitch? And it just proceeded to get worse from there. And now it's done. It's wrapped up.
It's over.
Warner Brothers strangled this game in its crib. It could have been so much more. It could have been saved. And let's not even mention the choice in guest characters, which are extremely fucking questionable. It just feels like whatever shit they could get the rights to rather than a cohesive vision. Like Mortal Kombat X's obvious horror theme, Mortal Kombat 11's 80s action theme, which was also pretty fucking questionable, like Rambo. But at least it felt consistent. Like if your dad got to pick the roster for the next Smash Bros. And then there's Mortal Kombat 1 with Homelander, Ghostface, Conan the Barbarian, and the T-1000, which triggered me to no fucking end, because why would you put the T-100 and T-1000 in two separate fucking games when Alien and Predator are in the same fucking game? Plan this shit out, do better, god damn! And the fact that there's a chance that Warner Brothers destroys itself and they become the next 20th Century Fox, what then? No court in hell is gonna let Disney buy Warner Brothers after buying Fox. Who can even afford to buy Warner Brothers that has the ability to make movies as well as games? No one. Which means if they shut down, one of two scenarios will likely play out. A, everything is bought wholesale by a fucking tech company like Amazon, Microsoft, Comcast, or some shit for that juicy film IP, those DC characters, HBO, and without a thought or game plan or probable interest in doing anything with the video game side of stuff. WB Games was already trash at game preservation and ignoring beloved IPs. You think someone like Mark Zuckerberg will fare any better? Do you want Amazon to lock the next Arkham game behind the bullshit Amazon gaming service? That shit doesn't work for Epic Games Store. Why would it fucking work for another tech company? Well, a lot of them don't even have a dedicated game department, but now own the rights to several games. Hey, but what about Microsoft? To run DC Comics? And a film division? Hey, what about Sony?
Are you serious?
They couldn't afford to purchase all of Kodokawa, so I doubt they can afford to purchase all of Warner Brothers. And even if they could, do you want the studio who brought you such bangers as Morbius, Madam Web, the Resident Evil series, the Underworld series, and Sausage Party to make the next Batman? Not to mention, as a Mortal Kombat fan who wants Mortal Kombat on all platforms, I don't want the game series to suddenly become a fucking PlayStation exclusive. But the second equally as depressing scenario is Warner Brothers is picked apart by other companies like vultures on a corpse. Microsoft was heavily rumored to be interested in buying Warner Brothers games a while back, but due to the fact that they would be licensing some of those IP like the DC characters and wouldn't outright own them, they pulled back and purchased Bethesda instead. Because Microsoft doesn't want to be answering to Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers would hold all the cards and what gets greenlit and what gets made. Not really a concern if Warner Brothers is too dead to fight back. So in this scenario, Microsoft would probably buy the games department wholesale, gain some rights but not others, because another company like Amazon would purchase the DC characters, and now something like Injustice 3 can't happen because of legal red tape. And let's say none of this comes to pass, because Superman is a big hit and Warner Brothers doesn't close down. What then? WB Games is still fucking dog shit, and with every developer seemingly stumbling over one another to charge you $80 for their fucking game, and the game still fucking sucks and is mistreated again by egregious monetization practices, there will be blood in the streets. So help me God if Warner Brothers decides to charge $80 for the next fucking Mortal Kombat game after what they've pulled with this! Especially if the rumors of just how fucking broke they are to be believed, and how small the budget might be for the next game. Fans aren't happy with how they're being treated, and have been treated for the past several years. And to add insult to injury, they can't even be bothered to toss us all a bone and re-release the old games, which a lot of us have been asking for years. And then you see how Capcom treats their fans with their collections and massive fan service with their current titles, and it's just very apparent which company cares about their fan base and which company doesn't. Considering how bad every other game coming out from Warner Brothers has been lately, I think it speaks volumes for Ed and the team. If this were in the hands of any other team, this would have been much fucking worse than it already was. Like, Multiverses is fucking dead and never coming back. Mortal Kombat is going to survive because of Ed and the gang. But that's the end of my rant, because there is no happy ending or no promising beacon of hope, only sadness. The next time we'll be seeing Mortal Kombat will be the next live-action sequel to the 2020 reboot that received mixed reception, because if the games aren't getting it right, why would the films?
I'm an orphan from the south side of Chicago.
But it at least looks more promising than the first movie from just a few images. I'm eager to see a trailer very soon. I'll break it down here on the channel when it does. But until then, get fucked.